Hello everyone, I have here the largest of the LEGO Avatar sets. That's James Cameron's Avatar, the 2009 movie, not the upcoming one. It's called Toruk Makto and the Tree of Souls. I bought this for its retail price of $150 US, 150, and of course built it live for everyone to see over on Twitch. The set has 1,212 pieces, comes with 4 minifigures, 1 medium small animal, 1 very large animal, the Tree of Souls, and then 3 separate terrain builds. The Tree of Souls itself is delightfully large. Here it is compared to the size of a regular random minifigure, and next to one of the significantly taller Avatar-specific figures. We'll look at the figures later, but like this thing has some nice shelf presence on it just by itself. The trunk is very knotted and has a little bit of a feeling of the trunk of the bonsai tree, the 18 Plus Botanicals line bonsai tree, but is much simpler to build and is much stronger. You know, it's not finicky or fiddly to put it together. But then that's contrasted, kind of the old growth look for the trunk is contrasted against the very beautiful and like fairy world, like trans dark pink pieces that are hanging down, which is recolors. We've not gotten these long antenna pieces in trans dark pink before, and lots also of trans dark pink lightsaber blades in the 4 long length, as well as just some cone pieces, and they're all suspended from just a small number of the lilac or light lavender colored regular large leaf pieces, and also whip pieces, old style whips that have been recolored into that same color, and it all goes together fairly simply. There's definitely some repetition to some of the builds here, but it makes sense to me. It's just unfortunate that all of these don't hang to gravity. They don't hang completely parallel to the ground, especially the ones with the whips start to angle in, which some people would say, hey, it looks more random. A little bit of randomness is nice, but definitely in the original pictures that LEGO showed, and in the box art and everything, they show this being much more neat than it actually is. So it's just good to know what it's really going to look like. Speaking of that, the base has a lot of light aqua colored pieces that people mistakenly automatically believe are glow in the dark. Light aqua is not a glow in the dark color from LEGO, but it does have a little bit of a day glow kind of effect, which I can understand folks who don't know the LEGO color palette thinking that this will glow. It doesn't. However, just that piece right there, right down there, the long double-sided hilt, sword hilt piece, that does glow. So that one white piece right there does. And there are 4 of those. They're offset just a little bit relative to the base, so it's slightly off grid, which is nice. But you get just a tiny bit of glow down there. It glows well, but it's just the tiniest thing. Doesn't really have that much of an effect. So if you're looking for, or you're expecting that glow in the dark effect here, just don't. You're not going to get it. This also has a couple of specialized areas where you can open these vines up and you can put a figure down there and get them integrated in. So you have one over here and then one over there. Here are the 2 smaller terrain builds, and you can see that each of these has a clip on one side and then a bar on the other side, so they're intended to connect together, and more of these types of builds from other sets in the series will easily fit together. I love the variety here, and I love how many different colors and shapes that they use, including some nice upside down building here, and that crown piece is glow in the dark. So anywhere you see exactly that in this theme, that will actually glow in the dark. So just one piece here, none over here. You can kind of pose this up a little bit, and also this palm-like bit, just has a couple pieces of foliage on it, but that can be turned around a little bit. And there's some different places where you can connect some things on, as well as plenty of studs, so you can have figures hopping around on all of these, which is good. And that brings me to the larger of the terrain builds for this. Once again, it has a clip over here and a bar on the other side, so you can attach things easily together. And yeah, look at the size of that. It also has, just an interesting shape to it, an unusual shape, as well as some of the floating rocks up here, which are suspended from a piece that I personally had not seen before, a shape that I had not seen before from them. And in this, you can see more of the crown pieces, which will glow in the dark. So you've got actually 5 of those on this bit here. And looking at it from the other side, it does not look as good from this side, but at least we're not seeing weird stuff. It's just a little bit flatter, a little bit more unfinished. Definitely is more camera friendly from this side because the foliage bits tend to face this way. This is a pretty efficient build. It definitely does not waste pieces. You know, it doesn't have a whole lot of really, really small pieces either, but it does have some fairly large ones in the forms of these small, ugly rock pieces, although they're not all that ugly. Like those types are actually pretty decently shaped. They don't have a lot of studs on them, but what studs they do have are completely covered here. There's another one of those inverted glow-in-the-dark pieces. Also, this has a 2-stud wide disc or dish underneath there, which will glow in the dark. Same thing with that one over there. So you get just a little bit more shine out of that. Plenty of places again to attach figures along here, including along the sides. You know, you can attach the backs of legs to that, but most importantly, this here using these 2 transparent pieces with the half cylinder cross section all through here. This has a good thickness to it, and you put 2 of them together, even though they're at different heights here, it has really good strength for the size of it. And they do use just a minimum amount of Technic building to hold all this together. You see maybe some colors that you don't necessarily want to see, but they're not bad. You know, and most importantly, this has the strength to hold something very large and heavy, at least for the size of it. You know, I just would not expect something this thin in Lego to be able to hold an animal that's that large, but it holds it easily. There is no concern whatsoever of this bending over time, of it flexing, of it, you know, having any sort of plastic fatigue. The balance is pretty good there, so it's not really trying to bend as it is, but it's nice to have something of this size that's able to look like it's floating. And this is, of course, a Leonopteryx. I believe I pronounced that correctly. And the wings are made of vinyl. So these are separate pieces of vinyl, 1, 2, 3 on each side. And then these are able to flap independently here. These are able to flap independently here. Got the little Bird of Paradise style tails here. I'll show you more of this up close as well. But also the tips are able to flap independently and kind of move around. You can also do this, so you can fold this in. And with the way that the vinyl is mounted up, you can do this safely. It's not causing any creases or crinkling in there. If you leave it this way, of course, long term, it will start to memorize that bend. It'll start to stay that way. But just doing it a little bit during the course of regular play is not going to cause an issue. You can also rotate these up and down this way, which means that you can kind of do the catching insect thing that they believe that dinosaurs, some of the dinosaurs used to do. And the colors that are used for the skeletal bits of these wings are compatible with the feather design, or the wing design, I guess, the wing visual design. So it doesn't bother me too much. You get there's just a little bit of blue right here, but it's not that bad at all. The head is actually pretty good. I had to look for some movie stills, and this matches the look quite well. You get the little bit of interlocking right there. Yeah, this looks really good. The printing is appropriate. The shaping is good. It's all specialized just for this theme, and the production is nice. You're able to rotate this around. You're not able to rotate here, but you're able to move the head up and down. Also, you can take this apart just real quick, rotate this large macaroni section 180 degrees, and then it'll bend up instead for some different poses. The shaping of this is pretty good. This is a very large, I'm going to take it off of its stand right here. One thing that doesn't work with this stand sometimes is that you'll get, yep, exactly that right there. You'll get that happening where the axle will come out with it, and then the plate will come with this. Okay, this time it didn't. Sometimes the plate comes out, but it's just a very, very minor inconvenience. But at least it is doing its job of holding everything together pretty well. This is actually pretty appropriate with the shape of the rib cage under here. And I wanted to show you this piece. I personally had not seen this piece before. It is a 4x6 curve part. It's what used to be what would have been 4 separate pieces before, but now it's just one single piece. Again, I personally had not seen it before. That does not mean this is the very first time it's ever been used. There are some themes that I just don't cover at all, and Lego comes out with so many hundreds of different parts. It is very difficult to track them, but this allows them to put a single sticker across all of that. That's a sticker. That's a sticker right there. You can attach a minifigure right in this spot here. You know, the feet can go into there, and then sticker there, sticker there, sticker there. Everything else is done with, you know, the print for the head, and then again, this is all just vinyl. With the feet, or with the legs rather, let's go forward and backward, in and out like this, and well, that's it. Well, you can turn the toes in and out. They're ratcheted in and out, which is a little bit useful. Not a lot. Oh yeah, this one goes up and down. There's no ankle articulation whatsoever though. So a lot of this articulation is not useful. When it's on the ground, you can have it either standing up like this, or you can have it leaning forward and then putting pressure. Whoops. That was entirely my fault. I don't blame the design for that. I just knocked a couple pieces off. Just being a little bit too rough with it underneath here. But you basically can have it putting some weight on the wing tips when it's on the ground. That's pretty much all you have options for. So a little bit more articulation in here would have gone a long way. However, it definitely would have required beefing this up a bit. So the compromise here is in favor of keeping it sleek, and also keeping it as a kid-friendly build. This is a Direhorse, and there's no articulation to it whatsoever. What you see is what you get, but you do have these connections, which is a new piece, a new style of whip piece, which has a receptacle for a bar at the end of it. You can actually attach that to the base of the hairpiece of a figure. So when you put a figure on this as a rider, you can have them neurally connect to one another. But to do that, you're going to have to pull this out because the figure is going to stand right there in the middle. It's the usual stuff that they do for riding for horses. Viewers on the Twitch stream did point out that there's a fairly massive gap here compared to normal, which is absolutely true. Just the mold, or the plastic kind of warped outward when it came out of the mold. So that should really be together more like that, with just very, very small gaps, but it's kind of far apart. That's a little bit odd and awkward. All in all, though, this does look pretty good to me. And I think it looks pretty accurate as well. Could it have used more detail? Sure. But would that have taken it away from the Lego feel? Maybe. Could it have used some articulation at least to be able to rear up? Absolutely. It would have increased the cost though, you know, including to us. I don't think that this is that important that it needed to be done incredibly well, unless they're going to be using these a lot in upcoming sets from the actual new movies, as opposed to this legacy thing that's just trying to, you know, buy into a little bit of manufactured hype for the old movie that they've put back in theaters. But overall, I think the design of this is fine for what it's trying to be. Here are the figures for Toruk Makto, the avatar for Jake, and then Neytiri, Jake from State Farm, of course. This is the first time that I've shown you these figures personally, in person, up close, and I think it's important to show the difference in height relative to a regular random minifigure. The legs are significantly longer, and the arms are also longer. The heads are also taller than usual. Now, some folks absolutely hate these. Just the overall design for the Navi. I personally thought they looked really, really weird in photographs. But from the front, here, in person, I think they actually look really, really good. In spite of the fact that they are Lego minifigures with noses and ears. They've done ears before, Lego has done ears before in general, but noses too. What gets really weird for me is when you start to turn them to the side and you realize that there's no depth to the nose. That starts to feel like a knockoff to me. Obviously, they made a unique mold for this head, a brand new mold for this head. And yet they didn't mold in, they molded in the ears, but they did not mold in a nose. I think they should have put in just a little bit of depth to the nose personally, because this is, I think, just not a good compromise, to try to get the Lego style while also accommodating this unique overall shape and everything. But other than that, as long as you don't look at them from the side, the printing here is good. The arms and legs, from what I understand, are not the exact same pieces that they first introduced in Toy Story, but they are the same size. They've just been adjusted. The molds have been adjusted a little bit. You got the tails here as well, and each of the hair pieces has a connection point. The hair pieces are separate. They're not dual molded, so you can swap things around. That's good. And the prints around the backs of the torsos look very, very good to me too. And then these characters are Tsute, I believe was the pronunciation, and Moat. I only watched the movie once in its original theatrical release, and have not seen it since then, going back to 2009. So it's been quite a while. Here again, more really, really good prints as viewed from the front, with questionable design decisions for the physical design of the heads, at least in my opinion. Some folks may like him. Some folks may dislike them from the front, but for me, this is good. This is not. Very, very consistent about that and how it feels. Once again, hair pieces can be removed like so, and it lets you see the rest of the very nice prints on the backs of the torsos. Leftover pieces include tails and other flexy bits, as well as a couple of the glow-in-the-dark pieces, and this is what the sticker sheet looked like, so not too much here. So everything here, I'd say, is between okay and good, with some of it being between good and very good, except for the price of $150 US, 150, or 150 euros, or 130 pounds UK. I went through a few thought experiments to try to figure out how I think that the company would have priced this as it is in 2022. Kind of thought of how it would have been priced a few years ago, considered inflation, looked at it a few different ways, chopping it up into multiple sets, hypothetically, looking at the volume of stuff and everything. And the most I could come to personally was $130 US, 130. And that's really a stretch. If it was 130, I would be asking for it to be, at this point in the review, I'd be saying, I wish it would be on sale a little bit. I like to cut like 10 to 20 bucks off of it. Ideal world, $100, please. That's not going to happen. So let's almost split the difference, be a little bit favorable, a little bit kind. And I'm going to say 120 is where I'd like to see this at in 2022, which is already going to feel too expensive to me for the amount of stuff that's here. So 150 is definitely too much. Look for a discount on this one, I would say. That said, again, everything here is at least okay. I think that it makes a very nice play set. Has a lot of just really, really strong Lego elves theme vibes, which is fantastic. One of the best Lego themes of all time. Very good parts pack. Definitely could have used more of the glow-in-the-dark stuff, just because I like the glow-in-the-dark stuff in general. And Lego is really doing glow-in-the-dark well today. It's unfortunate that so many people looking at this, especially the base around the tree, automatically assumes that it's all glow-in-the-dark just because it kind of has a day glow effect with that light aqua color. It's definitely going to throw a lot of people off. I don't think that's entirely Lego's fault. I do not think that they did any false advertising, because it really does have a day glow sort of effect when you look at it. But yeah, all in all, I couldn't have asked for too much better design-wise. Definitely, if these things didn't cross in so much, I would feel better about it. Maybe a little bit more bulk or articulation. Probably articulation would have been better, more important over here. But other than that, yeah, maybe the bulk amount of just heft to it is okay. But articulation in the legs would have gone a long way. And then cloth, instead of this vinyl stuff. Cloth, always, please, Lego, cloth. I understand why they went with vinyl, but I just really, really like cloth. It just feels good. Has a nice movement to it and everything. It just needs to be cheaper. Those are my thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to everybody who watched the build of this live on Twitch, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.